Welcome back, Disciples. We are here for chapter 14 of Centuria, so lock in with me. Let's dive right back in. But before we do, be sure to drop a follow for more Centuria content like this. And as always, read this manga on your own. Please, I'm literally begging you at this point. I shouldn't have to be begging. You guys know how good this is. If you've been following along with the series as a whole thus far, you guys should know, just as I do, that this series is genuinely one of the best ongoing manga right now. So if you're not reading it yet, hop on right away, twin. Chapter 14, titled Why He Won't Fight, begins back at the home Julian and company built, and Titi stands with a smile on her face, unaware of the chaos brewing in the village. She finishes cooking a large banquet-style meal, saying, "Phew, that should do it." The opening tagline reads, "A table set for a family of 4. But will their smiles prevail? The future of this country and Diana's future both hang in the balance." And Joseph bursts into the home where Titi is, panicked, and he says, "Titi, come quick! Julian and Engvall, they're..." We cut immediately back to the village, where Julian ardently defends a helpless Diana from being taken and executed, putting himself between her and Engvall. He looks torn between protecting his younger sister and having to fight his older sister-like figure, and Titi arrives, poking her head out of the crowd of knights and villagers. "What is going on here?" Elstri issues a command to Engvall. "Knight Engvall, should you try to protect the baby, the villagers will face the repercussions for betraying their country instead. It would be a greater punishment if someone suffered in your place, wouldn't it? Such is the person you are, after all." The chief of the village tries to intervene. "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And Elstri interrupts. "Knight Guillaume." A hulking iron knight, clad in shiny armor, carrying a spiked mace, slams his weapon on the ground in front of the chief, preventing him from moving any further. "Whoa!" Guillaume speaks. "You villagers have committed no act of evil. However," he draws a line in the soil with his mace, "should you cross this divide, you will be branded a traitor and purged. Therefore, I order you, shut your mouths and stay put." Titi and the others watch on with visible frustration and helplessness as Engvall relentlessly attacks Julian, the latter of whom says, "Please, Engvall, stop this. This isn't right. That woman is manipulating you, isn't she? You wouldn't do this." And Engvall cries out in response, "What? No, that's false. I'm carrying this out of my own volition. Julian, I've seen her vision. In the future, countless people will all die, and it's because of Diana." Julian screams, "That can't be the truth!" "You know it's not the truth, Engvall. Come on! We live together as family, so you of all people should understand that Diana isn't a threat." Engvall rears her fist back, preparing to swing yet again, thinking to herself, I know it's not true, Julian." She lands a punch, which Julian tries to block with his arms, using his power and upgraded stamina to absorb the brutal blows inflicted upon him by his loved one. And Engvall's inner monologue continues. "But I cannot disobey orders. If I try to defy the prophetess now, those soldiers will undoubtedly resort to forceful measures. Diana and the villagers, they'll both be dragged into this. Casualties will be unavoidable. Elstri will not hesitate to make sacrifices in the name of the Supreme Lord, which is why I'm begging you, Julian. Please just kill me. Then take Diana and run far away from this place. If you kill me, I'll be deemed incompetent and the villagers won't die. Ending me should be easy for you if you use your power. I'd rather end this situation with my own life than to take yours and Diana's. Please, Julian, please kill me and run." Julian somehow continues to absorb each and every one of Engvall's vicious punches without fighting back even a little bit. His dedication not to injure his family is at the forefront of his mind as he begs Engvall once again, "Please, Engvall, no more. Engvall!" And Diana coos happily, still unaware of the chaos unfolding. "Abba! Abba!" Titi cries out suddenly, "Engvall, stop!" And at Titi's cry, Engvall freezes, her fist still raised in midair. She drops to one knee as Julian devotedly shields Diana in the corner, placing his whole body between her and anybody else, and Julian utters a last-ditch cry of desperation. "Please, we'll depart from this country. We'll go elsewhere and we'll never return. I swear we won't come back. I'm begging you. Please don't kill this child. Julian bows his head lowly as he cradles Diana tightly in his arms. The villagers can do nothing but watch this entire scene unfold alongside the knights and Titi, all of whom look rather unsure about this entire ordeal, including the knights. And Engvall thinks to herself, "No, you don't understand. No matter what you say, Elstri's word is absolute." Engvall grabs a weakened Julian by the collar, yanking him towards her as Diana smiles at her in his arms. And Engvall screams, "Didn't I tell you, Julian? You have to fight!" Julian's eyes widen with shock and hurt as he begins to remember Engvall's words to him on that fateful night on the beach. "Tell me, Julian, what kind of family do you want to give Diana? What sort of life do you envision for her?" Julian recalls himself saying, "I want her to live without worries. I want to show her a world free from any suffering." And Engvall had replied, "That's quite a task to undertake. You'll have to fight with all of your strength on her behalf." Julian answered, "Fight? Fight what?" And Julian remembers sitting atop of the cliff near the ocean with Engvall, where she had responded, "This unforgiving world." Now both Julian and Engvall are seated in similar positions as they were back then, but Engvall grips Julian's collar tightly, desperately trying to get through to him. "Fight, Julian!" Julian stares back at her, an anguished look in his eyes, before he covers the left eye surging with power, dispelling his own abilities as he smiles sadly at Engvall, who finally lets go of him with a defeated whisper. "Why? Why won't you fight, Julian?" Julian answers solemnly, "I won't use my power to hurt my own family." Engvall begins to weep as she grips her helmet with both hands, pleading, "I can't. Please. I can't take this anymore." Elstri cuts off her thoughts with a cold command. "Enough dawdling. Knight Engvall, draw your blade. Put an end to this farce." Shakily, Engvall stands up, obeying and unsheathing her longsword from its holster and holding it to Julian's throat. The closing tagline of this chapter reads, "Her heart is torn between love and loyalty." Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I kind of need a minute after that one. This is the second time within 14 chapters that Centuria has made me emotional while reading. First and foremost, let's get this out of the way. I hate Elstri, bro. They will never make me like this character for as long as I live. She is pure evil. I take back my compliment. I called her cute in like 2 or 3 chapters ago when she was first introduced. I take that back. The beast has reared its ugly head, and it's basically all but confirmed at this point that Elstri is using Engvall as a means to an end and toying with her emotions to see where her loyalty lies, which is fucked on so many levels. But this raises the question, how valid are Elstri's prophecies? I mean, we saw earlier that when she was introduced to Diana and Julian, that she was very visibly panicked once they entered the room she was in. Elstri was also able to see the physical manifestation of the sea goddess and her blessing within Julian and the goat entity within Diana. However, we the readers only saw Elstri's vision for the first time when Engvall did, which begs the question, how does Elstri's power work? How much control does she have over these supposed visions? If she's able to share them with others, does that mean she's also able to fabricate visions to fit her narrative against Diana? We don't know for sure. There's not enough evidence here or there to say whether or not Elstri is legit, but we do know now some crucial components of Elstri's character. She's very deceptive and very shady, not above abusing her status as the king's left hand, essentially, to play to her advantage. As we saw when telling Engvall in the last chapter, my will is the king's will, right? And even going so far as, in this chapter, to threaten the innocent villagers' lives as punishment should Engvall fail. And she's also very cruel and ruthless, having no issue with seeing the innocent Diana be executed. It's also worth mentioning that their target is not technically Diana herself, but an ancient soul that has bonded to her, likely referring to the goat entity that we've seen in prior chapters. And assuming that this entity is some kind of deity or goddess like we've seen in the forest or sea, it is entirely possible that one day it will overtake Diana whenever it's able to fully manifest itself into their world. And that's likely what the prophecy Elstri saw was suggesting for the future. But again, we have no way of knowing how legitimate or fabricated Elstri's visions might have been, and based on her cunning, deceptive nature, it's not a ridiculous idea for her to be able to manipulate those prophecies to support her own goals. Either way, fuck Elstri. I have never grown to hate a character as fast as I've grown to despise her. Elstri is the #1 op. And finally, I just want to talk about Angval really quickly. She was actually breaking down crying in this chapter, and it upset me. I felt it in my soul when she started breaking down. She's clearly aware that she's being used by Elstri, but as of now, there's absolutely nothing she can do about it. And I hate seeing Angval torn apart like this and so helplessly. I'm sure we all do because our GOAT, yes, our GOAT, that goes for everybody watching this, she deserves so much better. Somehow she's got to get out of this predicament and rejoin our boy Julian before Arcos shows up because I am genuinely scared of what that motherfucker is capable of. Anyway, I'm going to go pour one out for my Go Engvall and her plight. Here's hoping that she turns the tables and she and Julian run a nasty 2v1 on Elstri. But until then, thank you guys all so much for watching. God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day.